Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be doing a review of Asteroids Recharged for the Nintendo Switch. Now this game is a revival of the Atari classic Asteroids, and it was released on December 14th of 2021, and it currently sells on the Nintendo Switch eShop for only $9.99. The game is published once again by Atari, however it was developed by Atom Vision and Sneaky Box. Now, will this be enough to bring an arcade classic into the modern era? Well, let's find out in the review. Just remember that if you do like the content, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel if you aren't already. Now, the original Asteroids released for arcades in 1979, and now more than 40 years later, Atari is trying to revive their classic franchises with the Recharged line of games. This is not the first game to release, but it is the first one I'm officially reviewing on the channel. I don't really think I need to say it, but no storyline is offered here. This is a straightforward arcade-styled score chaser. Moving on to the gameplay. The core of the gameplay remains pretty honest to the original. You are controlling a triangle-shaped ship, trying to survive as long as possible while being assailed by endless asteroids and UFOs, all the while blasting as many as possible to increase your score. As you clear the asteroids, they will start spawning in greater numbers and the UFO will become more aggressive. The overall objective of the main gameplay mode is to simply climb the local and online leaderboards. What is added to this new version of the game are power-ups that spawn when destroying certain type of UFOs, and provide you with multiple bonuses such as rapid fire, a huge screen clearing beam, or even defensive power-ups like a projectile deflector. To add some variety, there are also 30 challenges to clear with set objectives, such as killing a certain number of enemies as quick as possible, surviving for a set amount of time, and more. These are often done with preset scenarios, and they do give a nice change of pace. There's also the availability for 2-player local co-op in any of these modes, and it's probably the biggest addition for prolonged replayability, as the most fun I had was playing with my kids and wife. Overall, nothing revolutionary here. It is the core gameplay of the original Asteroids with co-op and some power-ups thrown in. Now if we move on to the controls. Controls are fairly simple and straightforward, using analog sticks to rotate your ship. Y will fire your weapon, hitting ZR will propel your ship in whatever direction you're facing with rocket-based physics, and finally X will warp you to a random spot on the screen. When you receive a power-up, it activates automatically and replaces your main weapon. Once again, as in the general gameplay, this will feel very similar to the original, and conform very well to either a controller or handheld mode. And heck, why fix what isn't broken? It's also fun to note that this simple setup also easily allows you to play co-op in tabletop mode, with each player only using a Joy-Con. And now finally for the graphics and sound. Once again here, they are balancing adding a breath of freshness while trying to maintain an aesthetic that will appeal to nostalgic fans of the original. Rather than a flat black background, we have one dotted with neon stars. It's subtle, but adds a lot of visual appeal. As the original, all the other elements are wireframed, however, rather than solely black and white, they are once again neon in color. Overall, I feel like they were successful in finding a visual style that is immediately recognizable as Asteroids, while adding the visual appeal needed for it to feel more modern. On the sound side, it was definitely a high point of my experience, with a score that is interesting and fitting the overall gameplay. A nice pairing for the pew-pew of the lasers, not groundbreaking, but definitely better than I was expecting. So now moving on to the verdict, and if this is the first time watching one of my videos, my full grading scale is available down below in the description of the video. And for the score, I will be giving Asteroids Recharged on the Nintendo Switch a 6.5, putting it on the high end of a decent game. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as an awesome nostalgia trip, playing Asteroids Recharged was tons of fun. The problem, however, here lies in the fact that if you don't have love or knowledge of the original Asteroids, I'm not sure there's enough to pull in a new player and warrant the $10 price point. Ultimately, I think that the choice to release the Recharged series on a game-by-game basis is a wrong one. In this form, it really is hard to recommend this game unless you already know that you have a love for the original material it's based on. I would have rather seen these games released in waves, with packs of maybe 3 to 4 games in a price range of $10 to $15. That way, each pack would be offering a more well-rounded, mainstream accessible product where even a new gamer could jump in and probably fall in love with some awesome arcade classics. But as it stands at a $10 price point for one single game, I would only really recommend this for someone who already had a deep love of the original Asteroids. So now I turn the question over to all of you. Are any of you going to be picking up Asteroids Recharged on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget on the way out that if you did like the content, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel if you aren't already, and hitting that notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.